Hello, my name is Kelsey, and I did not get chosen to be the maid of honor. Welcome back to the podcast. Can you take my shift? It's time to gather around the water cooler, everyone, for this week's friendly gossip.
You want to call it friendly gossip?
Christ, Kelsey.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone.
Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. I'm sitting here the minute you said that, I'm like, my hand went straight over my mouth, so I'm like, I can't say anything. Wow, you really came out swinging out of the gate this week. Holy moly.
I absolutely did. So, because I am a Leo, it may be Gemini season, but I am still a Leo, and I still choose chaos. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. And if you heard a third chuckle that may sound unfamiliar, we, for the first time ever, have a live human being guest in the studio.
In studio on my bedroom floor, we have our beautiful, lovely, soon-to-be married, as Kelsey so lovingly introduced, our beautiful friend wow. Say her name. Our beautiful friend Kailie. Kailie, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good. How do you feel about that intro?
It was definitely a different one.
It's fine. Come on. I knew you weren't gonna choose me. So, I have lived with you the longest, but it's fine.
Well, that goes to Amy.
No, but I've lived with you longer than Amy lived with you.
In that way.
Yeah, but we will get into that later. So today we have our friend Kailie here. She completes the threesome that is the best bitches forever.
Can we not call it that? Not the best bitches forever is fine. That's our group chat name. Yeah. Because there a better way to say than threesome.
What? A couple is 2, a threesome is 3, a foursome is 4, 5 is a party, 6 is just...
We call it a trifecta. I prefer that.
All right.
Trifecta, thank you.
All right, well, we'll get back to that. Agree to disagree.
Okay.
Yeah, but we have Kailie here, who she has been someone we have mentioned quite a bit on the podcast. Like, I truly feel like you are a secondary character in our story, in our journey. Like, we pay you, you're like when Paul Rudd joins Friends. He's not one of the main 6 friends because you're not on our podcast every week, but, you're truly a character that just needs to be there.
I was going to say, I mentioned, at least, every second episode, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a good metaphor.
Yep.
But I want to take us back. So, like we do with all of our guests, Kailie, what was your first impression of Amy?
My first impression of Amy was interesting, because I know I freaked her out.
Yes, you did a little bit. I was like, oh my god, who's this bitch in my fucking Facebook messages? Anyway, go on.
I was so scared about the political climate in Florida that we were going to get deported before I even got there.
Yeah, so that was a fun introduction to you, but other than that, what else did you think of me? Or were you just worried that you scared me off before you even met me?
I felt very comfortable with you right away. I thought you were very nice, but I was definitely worried once we actually met if you were going to like me or not.
That is fair. I did like you, so you're fine.
I'm glad, 5 years later.
Yep. And what was your first impression of Kelsey?
I thought she hated me. I really did.
Very different first reactions in this room. Very different first reactions.
Well, I love her, but you have resting bitch face, man.
I do.
I also suffer from it, so unfortunately, I fell victim to Kelsey thinking she hated me, so...
Okay, I did not hate you, so I'll tell you my first impression. So, we have a mutual friend of ours who is my trainer, and she is driving my roommate to work, and she says to me, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm sick, but I'm going to go to work. And she's like, no, you should go to the doctor. And I was like, no, I'm going to go to work. So she was like, okay, get in the car. So we go and drive to your apartment complex to pick you 2 up. But this person felt totally comfortable driving with too many people in the car.
Which was a weird thing that people did in Florida all the time.
Yeah. So Amy gets in the car. I'm in the back seat. This is like even before I knew who Amy was.
Yes.
And I see you, Kailie, not wanting to get into the car.
Absolutely not. I was gonna die.
Yeah. So you decide to not get in the car. We get to work. We see at work later. I see you crying, and I'm like, did I take her seat in the car? Because she wasn't originally gonna drive me to work. So I was like, oh my god, this girl must hate me. And then fast forward to like a week later, this mutual friend of ours, she says, you should hang out with Kailie. I think you'd really like Kailie. Oh, did you know like Kailie's bi too? Like you should hang out with Kailie. And I was like, okay, like she's being really insistent that I hang out with you. And I was like, okay, like she I guess she doesn't hate me. And she was like, yeah, you guys have so much in common. And I was like, okay. So I'm sitting there eating lunch one day, and you come up to me and you start talking to me. And you ask me if I would want to go to the competitors theme park with you. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. Like this is my day off. And you're like, that's my day off too, and walk away. And I'm like, did she just ask me out?
As I'm in a very committed, now engaged to my partner. But, you know, it's fine. I was asking Kelsey out.
Okay, but it wasn't the fact that you gave off any vibes. She had me convinced. She was like so pressure that you and I hung out together. I thought that maybe you told her, you're like, I have a crush on the new girl. I think she's really pretty. So I was like, sure, she's pretty. Like, I'm down in Florida. Like, But yeah, that was my first impression of you. We both thought each other hated each other at the beginning, and now I am a bridesmaid in your wedding.
Wow. What a fun dynamic we have here.
You know, honestly, that day, I remember that because we hung out and you asked me to eat breakfast with you for Easter, and that was like the real first day of our friendship too. Yeah. So it only makes sense Kelsey was there.
It's like the universe knew, right off the bat.
They're like, these bitches, the amount of chaos, extraness, and mental illness, let's throw them together.
Yeah. Well, because I remember when we decided to move in together, you were like, oh, you guys are moving in together?
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, because like we're allowed a consolidation move because we were 21, so they allowed us to move for free, and we're like, hey, can we just move in together? Like, is that something you can make work? And they were able to, and our place ended up being like for 3 people, and then we found out our other roommate was moving out, I think, what was it, like 2 months later?
Like a month and a half later.
Yeah, like not even that long. And so Kelsey goes, she's like, I'm gonna try to move in with you guys. And we're like, you're gonna what?
Okay,
I just like inserted yourself, and then we were both like,
what just happened?
We were like, are we okay with this? Like, this is okay. Right? Like I don't know. Do we know her that well? And she's like, yeah, like it will be like so much fun. And we're like, okay, yeah.
Because I think we mentioned it in passing one time,
so
and then you called, and you're like, I called them. They said it was fine.
Okay, so what happened was you weren't there, but Amy and I were at the Cowboy Bar.
Oh, that's what it was.
And I had a ton to drink, and Amy wasn't drinking because one of our friends was like really against underage drinking.
Yeah.
So she wasn't drinking, and I was hanging out with her all night. We were having a great time, and I was telling her how much I hated my roommate. And she mentioned, she's like, oh yeah, I'm moving. And then I just took that as, like, on my drunk mind was like, she wants to be best friends. She wants to move in together.
This is her asking me to move in.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I did have that conversation. Yeah. I wasn't even drunk and I don't remember it.
I remember it was literally overnight because I woke up and you texted, like, both of us in the group chat being like, they said it was fine for me to move in. And we're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Yeah.
And now here we are. Yeah. Me and Kelsey are roommates like for 2 years, and you're not our roommate, but like you're always around, which is great. Yeah.
But we'll get into that a little bit more. Mm-hmm. I want to start with, since this is of course a job about customer service. Sorry, this is a podcast about customer service jobs. There we go. Those are the words. Kailie, what was your first job?
Well, I worked for a pretty famous chicken fast food restaurant, which at the time everyone in my high school thought was hilarious because I'm half black. So of course I work with fried chicken.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That was high school admission for you.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. So you're vegetarian now. Was this like the catalyst that made you decide eventually I need to be a vegetarian?
I do have those war flashbacks to, when I had to make the chicken gravy. So maybe a little bit. But it wasn't their salads there weren't salads, so it's not they really pushed me to be a vegetarian either.
That's fair.
So do you have any stories about the fried chicken restaurant?
There was one story. It was my first day on drive-thru, and a woman, you're supposed to check the food before you hand it, obviously, to the person, make sure it's the right food. The one time I didn't do it, she bought 4 chicken breasts, which are $5 a piece, so she spent a good $20 on just chicken breasts, and I handed her a box of fries. And then she drove to Maple Ridge and got home and then realized it was a box of fries and not 4 chicken breasts. So she drove back to get her 4 chicken breasts.
How far away is that? A good 30 minutes?
Yeah, 30 minutes
for she to go an hour out of her way.
Yeah, so that is probably the worst story. That still makes me feel terrible to this day.
I inconvenienced this woman by an hour.
In my defense, she was a Karen. So
no fucker then.
It evens out in the end. And then I used to open the entire store, so I was by myself with this one guy who just would make chicken for hours, and I would sit there and just talk to him and eat popcorn chicken.
Nice.
Once someone else came in, I'm like, okay, it's your turn, you go do the salads, and I just sit there eating popcorn chicken. I gained so much weight from that job, but you know what, popcorn chicken's expensive. I regret nothing.
You know what, hey,
fair enough.
Take what you can get from massive corporations that treat you like garbage.
Exactly.
How is it, though, working in the kitchen? Because I remember when my dad worked at a major fast food restaurant with an M. He said that the grease was so bad, his skin was constantly breaking out. Is that something you experienced as well?
Yeah, we had polyester uniforms as well.
Ooh.
So you were so sweaty, and what we had to do was mop the floor and then squeegee it, and there was still grease all over the floor. It was pretty gross, I will not lie.
I got nothing to say to that besides just gross.
My first day I closed, because that's all you do as a newbie. I went home and showered for 40 minutes.
Yeah. Just sitting there scrubbing out your skin.
Need to scrub it out. Yeah, it was not good.
And then the final question I have is the mashed potatoes. Are those instant mashed potatoes or are those real potatoes?
I hate to tell it to you, Kelsey, but they're instant mashed potatoes.
Okay, yeah, you say your unpopular opinion.
My unpopular opinion is I don't mind instant mashed potatoes.
Okay, these ones are okay.
Sociopath. You're an absolute sociopath.
These ones are okay because you just smothered them in the chicken gravy, and then I threw popcorn chicken on top of that with some hot sauce. It was delicious. But there was one time, my very first Valentine's Day I worked, and I hate Valentine's Day to begin with, and I'm in a relationship, I still hate it. I think it's a stupid holiday. But you're supposed to kind of to smash the potatoes down to put the lid on it, you have to kind of hit it against the counter. It went in my eye. Yeah, so I had instant mashed potatoes in my eye, so I'm going on break now.
That sounds like an instant regret.
Oh my god. Okay, that's where we're going to end this week's episode, guys.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you, we're done.
We're done. Interview over.
Fair enough. Sorry, I'm not used to being around people.
Yeah, it's a strange phenomenon.
Yeah, it's strange to have a live person in here.
It is.
So after working at major fried chicken fast food place, you moved on to the apparel business.
I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I walked in, dropped off my resume, got an interview on the spot, then they took me in the back and I had to answer an hour questionnaire, but I was unemployed, so I was going to do it. And then I got hired and started work the next day. So that was a fun little tidbit on that job. I'm really good at getting interviews on the spot, which I think is very strange.
Yeah, that is odd. I've only had like a couple. Usually when you have an interview on the spot, it's never good. Like the business never. Anytime I've ever had an interview on the spot, it's never been a good job.
I've never had an interview on the spot. I've always had to like go into for them.
Well, I don't mind saying the name of this company
because they're big. They're
dead.
Business.
Yeah, they're dead. It was Payless, so it wasn't like a great Payless shoes. It wasn't a great job, but like you know what? I got 30% off, like 20% off discounted shoes. I have a lot of shoes from that, and I didn't pay rent at the time, so all I did was bring my mom shoes every 2 weeks, and she enjoyed that.
What mother wouldn't?
Here's an offer. Mother, I bring you an offering.
Please let me still live here.
Here is a pair of pumps for you this week. Let me know what you would like next week.
Pretty much, yeah, that is exactly. I would text her shoes on my break, and she'd be like, I like those ones. And I'd be like, okay.
Nice.
No, my mom was a huge Payless mom. I swear, like, God, all my shoes growing up were from there, right? Because it's, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so it's either Walmart or Payless or Zellers. Those are your options.
Yes.
And then Zellers died, like...
Yeah. Like, Payless shoes would last a little bit longer than Walmart shoes.
They were a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah. Payless shoes also carried American Eagle shoes. Mm-hmm. And those were cute.
Yeah.
Those were cute. But
they're too... I found they were too narrow for my feet.
Oh, yeah.
So I just stared at them, and I'm like, you are cute, but I can't have you.
Did you ever have people, like, walk out with shoes? Did I open a door?
It was a few times. Do you want me to start talking about that right now?
Yeah, get right into it.
Okay, so I worked it was in the Seven Oaks Mall in Abbotsford, and if you know Abbotsford, it's not like the home of the greatest people in the world.
It's a very small town.
Small town, lots of homeless population, so a lot of people go into the mall and just look around to have something to do. So the amount of kids that came in, like toddlers, with no shoes, and they would leave with shoes, people did that a lot. So just be empty boxes in the back, because they'd walk in with no shoes. They were like 2. Then they'd walk out with shoes, and you don't think anything of it because a child has shoes. So like we had a no chase policy anyways, but like you didn't think anything of it. Then there was one time I was walking up and down the aisles. You have to put the shoes a certain way, so I was doing that. And I saw the grossest pair of white sneakers I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, when did we start selling such ugly shoes? Someone took off their shoes, put it in the box exactly like how the other shoes were, and walked out with a brand new pair of shoes.
Honestly, good for them.
Honestly, yeah, if you're ballsy enough to try to do that.
Yeah, that's literally all I can think of. And
then there was one other time. So this is where the no chase policy comes in. I have a guy walk out. He's wearing his old shoes and just walking out with a brand new pair of shoes, waves at me, and continues walking out with these shoes. It just full on left. But we had a no chase policy, and I'm 18. I'm not going to go chase after this 50-year-old man for shoes that cost, you pay more for them than my hourly wage. I'm not going to go get them. Mm-hmm. We called security, and they came by 15 minutes later. And then they just said, oh, where are the shoes? And we're like, well, they left when we called you. And they're like, oh, they're gone. I don't care. And walked away.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so this is the thing. So I'm not condoning shoplifting. I want to start there before I launch into this. It's a lot easier to steal than people think. And they always tell you horror stories, and like every coming of age show ever had one character always got arrested for shoplifting. Mm-hmm. There was always a shoplifting episode. And what I've noticed is, because we do have a lot of homeless people in Vancouver, and there's a lot of stealing, and most companies have no chase policies. Like we've talked about in the past about working at the coffee shop, people stole every single day.
Oh, every day.
And because your wage is not worth it. Like, you're paying me $14 an hour, and someone's going to steal a $30 cup. You don't know what people have. There's been a shooting every other day here in Vancouver. There has been stabbings. I'm not going to chase someone for a cup for a corporate. The cup costs more than my hourly wage for them to turn around and stab me.
That is fair.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, like I was at the dollar store the other day by my house, and I was like buying dollar store things. And this guy starts shoveling candy into his bag, and he's like, older guy, clearly homeless, very dirty, and they're yelling at him, put it back, and he starts like screaming obscenities, and he's like on his way out, and like one's with him, and he's like call the police, I am the police, like, and then starts screaming at them, and then just leaves. But like there's nothing you can do. And the cashier was a very tiny, like shorter than me, like older woman. Like what is she gonna do? That guy could easily put her in so much harm.
Yep.
Over like $10 worth of dollar store candy, which, let's be honest, cost the company probably a cent each.
Yeah. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. So like I obviously do not condone shoplifting, but like it's a lot easier to get away with because nobody wants to put themselves in harm's way, and then when someone does get like aggressive, like don't steal from us, like something usually bad happens to them, that it's like just let it go.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm. So I've heard this term for the TSA, that TSA is safety theater. The TSA doesn't make the plane any more safe. It's just safety theater, and that's what security is. Security can't actually do anything. They're not police, they're just security.
No, the number of times like we would call security and they're like, are they inside your store? We'd be like, yes. So there's like, well, there's only so much we can do. Like if they're outside your store, we can help you more. I'm like, what do you mean? Like they're like, oh, if they're inside your store, you have to call the cops. And I'm like, the cops aren't gonna get here. By the time the cops are here, these dudes are long gone. Like, what is the point of keeping you around? But there is a point, yes, for safety theater, but it's also just that, like, it's supposed to be, like, it makes people, like, scared, or it just makes them more aware that, yes, there is someone watching you. Because, like, we've all seen security guards that are, like, old or probably not the most physically fit people, and we're just like, how did they get this job? Like, you know, like, police officers are pretty buff, or like at least in like really good physical shape, and then you see like some mall cops and you're like, I don't know if I feel super safe.
Well, because being security is it's an intimidation tactic, right? But if you don't give a shit, they can't do anything. No mall cop is gonna actually chase you down if you just go deuces and run. Like the old 80-year-old mall cop's not going to be able to get you. Like, sure, they might get you on a security's camera and you might be banned from the store.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was working at, was it Palessi?
Oh my god, I totally forgot that they did Palessi, because we had to talk about it when I was in school. They're like, does anyone think this is like a smart marketing tactic? And I was like, absolutely not. This is dumb as hell. And it didn't save them at the end of the day.
Yeah, so. I worked there like a good 5 years before that. They tried doing that.
No, not a good time.
Good old Palessi. Well, I want to pour one out to them, because that was the best place to get work shoes.
It was.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
They had the ugly non-slip ones. They had good, like, they just had work shoes for every occasion. So pour one out to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But then after your experience in the retail and apparel business, I'm trying to phrase it, you know, like LinkedIn, where you're like, I multifaceted, multi-million-dollar corporate transactions.
I could have put that on my resume. Man, I never thought about that.
Yeah, come on, girl boss.
Yeah. You went to a grocery store. Now, I've worked in a grocery store before, and I still have PTSD from it. How was your grocery store experience?
Well, mine was for a just single grocery store in Abbotsford. And if you're from there, you know which one I'm talking about. And I worked in the meat department, which is more what catalysted like me becoming a vegetarian more than the fried chicken company. Yeah, it was a good place to work. Would I work there forever? No. Obviously not, because I'm no longer there, but it was a nice place to work, and I got a lot of steps in. because the meat case was the entire length of the entire store. So I got my steps in.
Yeah, you definitely had to constantly be doing the back and forths.
So you worked in the deli department, right?
Yeah, it was the deli and the meat department. So, like, there was literally, like, a line where the hand sanitizer was. So every time you went by, you had to grab the hand sanitizer and, like, wipe it and then put on the gloves. So, like, I was really prepared for COVID.
Oh, that's good.
So, because I was so used to putting on hand sanitizer, it didn't even bother me.
You got it trained young.
Yeah.
So what's it like working the meat slicer?
So I was already kind of used to it because in high school I worked in cafeteria and they also had a meat slicer. So I already knew how to work it, take it apart, clean it, and then put it back together and make sure it was fine. So when they hired me, they're like, okay, so this is how you use it. I'm like, okay. And I just started slicing stuff and they're like, okay, but you have to do this. And I'm like, yeah. And I turn it up to, like, because people want thick cut bacon and stuff like that. And they're like, okay, we're going to leave you alone now.
Already an expert over here. Sounds good. Sounds good. Easy trainee.
God, I think I know more about cutting meat than you do, genius. Okay, but, like, my thing is, because I've seen, again, also going back to TV and movie tropes, about how easy is it to lose a finger?
It's actually quite easy if you're not paying attention. The amount of, we had to keep track of, like, all the, there was, like, a first aid, like, committee or something from every department. Meat and deli was always the highest because of the meat slicer and the meat hooks that the butchers used.
Oh my god. Oh, yeah, those things are scary.
They are scary, I will admit that. And I have gone, like, Wolverine before with, like, 3 of them in my hand. But that's for another time.
No, that is for this time. Keep going.
But I remember one time I was cleaning it and you have to, like, sharpen it and then you clean it. And they tell you you're not supposed to run it and then, like, put the cloth to clean it. But, like, I had a safety glove. That's what I did. But I accidentally, one time I got my fingernail too close and it cut it, like, clean off. And I'm like, if that was just a slight centimeter lower, that would have been my fingertip. So, friends, always wear the safety glove. They're metal, and they are stupid, and they are heavy. But wear them because I prefer my fingers.
Always wear protection.
Yeah, always wear protection. That's the moral of the story, friends.
Yeah. As someone who's had part of their finger cut off, you have a slim window to get that back.
Yeah, you really do. You have a very slim window.
Yeah. That reminds me of when I took wood shop and our teacher told us this story about this kid who cut off his finger on the saw. He got to the hospital, got it stitched back on. He was fine. Once it was all healed, dude cut off the same finger again.
Didn't take wood shop next year. I don't think it was for him.
I actually knew a guy that had his fingers were to his knuckles, and he played the guitar with my grandfather in their band. And I asked him, because when I first met him, I was 5. I'm like, what happened? He's like, meat slicer. And at the time, I think he was just joking. I don't actually know how it happened. I never asked him because I was too horrified to know the answer.
Oh my god, yeah.
But it was all of his fingers.
Oh.
Just knuckles.
Oh.
And he played lead guitar and sang. And I'm like, good for you, man.
Honestly, yeah, that's impressive. Yeah.
Make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know my grandfather's missing some toes, but that's because frostbite.
Oh, that's a bitch
frostbite
too.
will get you.
Yeah. But wow. That is the meat industry.
And then the meat counter was also really long. So, like, at one point, like, your body, like, from the window that you're supposed to fit through, my waist was, like, and then I was just in the meat cooler all the time. It was terrible. I have back issues now.
That's fair. That is fair.
Because I only ever visited you once. I came to visit you when I was still living on the island. And I was, like, peering into the meat. Because you knew I was coming, but you didn't know when I was coming, and I was peering into the meat. And I can't remember what I said to you, but you shot up.
Because I haven't heard your voice in, like, 3 months.
And, like, your customer voice was like, ah, and they're like, oh.
Yeah, I was so like, oh, thank God I don't need to do my customer voice.
Yeah.
It's just Kelsey.
Well, you came into my work today and I have to do like confirmation calls and like I have to do it. Like I could have just texted you like, can I put you as confirmed? But like due to COVID, I do have to like tell you that if you have COVID, you can't come in.
I realized I never actually called to confirm, so I'm terrible.
It's fine. I knew I was doing, so some people don't call me back to confirm. I just have to mark it as I left you a message.
Ah, that's fair. You do the same thing.
Yeah, but you texted me and you're like, you sound so professional on the phone. I was like, well, I'm secretly dead inside.
That's the secret.
Yeah.
That is the secret.
Yeah. So now I know we could talk about meat slicers all day because like I'm sure I could, but we need to get into the bread and butter of our friendship. We need to get into the time we worked together, lived together, partied together, went to the hospital together. So we met Kailie in Florida. Well, Amy met Kailie at the interview for Florida. I only met Amy.
No, I didn't actually meet you guys. I met Traveler.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I met Traveler, and I'm like, I'm not getting this job because she knew everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
she was so prepared. I was like,
I'm not ever going to see this woman again.
Yeah.
And now she's a bridesmaid.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So
Yeah, weird things happen. So we all met in Florida. We've talked about, we ended up moving in together. And I didn't work directly with you because you and Amy worked together.
yes.
In retail. So if you guys want to talk about retail and working together and come tell us some of your experiences, because everyone's heard our stories, but I'm sure you have your own stories.
I will say there is, where we worked, we had a bar, so there was less magical moments, as you know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there was a lot of me cutting off people, so that was fun. I think I gained a lot of self-confidence from that job because I looked a man dead in the eyes and I said, you can go tell them and they can deport me if you can remember my name. And he did not remember my name, so I did not get deported.
Absolutely.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe we can speak. I can speak on behalf of both of us. Is like we were really bitter and jaded
Towards the end.
Like I think like the last like 3 to 4 months of my program, and people know me. I'm a pretty cheery person to work with. A lot of the time, I get along with everyone like very easily. I'm like easygoing, relaxed. No, those like last 3 to 4 months, I think. All I did and all we did together was complain.
It was my favorite, Amy. Because it was so unlike you.
Yeah, it was so unlike me. I was so bitchy towards everybody all the time because I just was like, it got to the point where it's like, you know, you have so little time left. What are they going to do? Fire me?
I think at some point I did say that, and that was to our coordinator, and they just looked at me. They're like, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You have a week left. What are they going to do?
Yeah. Well, it's like on my last day of work, I wore black lipstick. What? Yeah.
I forgot. It was on Halloween.
It was on Halloween. Yeah, I wanted to be dead inside.
Because you were.
Because I were. Yeah, but like working together, we had some like really good times. I think like our biggest thing is when we had to deal with the whole trainer fiasco.
Oh, jeez, which time?
All of it.
I will admit I was very bitter about that, and I like look back and I'm like, wow, you really are in a bubble when you're down there, because I thought my world was ending.
Yeah, we all thought our world was ending. So this whole trainer fiasco was basically what it comes down to at the end of the day is you get this stupid little pin
It's
with
just for a pin?
Yeah, with a character on it, and then while you train somebody, which majority of people get to train one other person, you get an extra $1.
Okay, in Florida, that was a lot.
That was a lot.
That was
yes.
the difference between like chicken, like no name ramen, and like premium Mr. Noodle ramen that came with veggies. Man, come on.
You know what? Yeah, that is fair. But I was very lucky. I got a trainer position, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Our other friend got a trainer position. That was really cool.
I got one too.
You did get one,
I was literally the only one.
My department, everybody was the trainer.
in your
your department didn't need anything.
Yeah. In ours, it was very like pick and choose. Like they literally would
Pick and choose.
and if you weren't a coordinator or leader's favorite, you didn't get it.
Which I wasn't.
Yeah, I was very lucky. The leader who chose them, she really liked me. And I'm not, like, I did get favoritism, I will say that. But the big kicker is the other person who got trainer, we've talked about her before, like the crazy redhead. Nobody liked her. She was the absolute worst person.
She'd been there for 2 months.
She had been there for 2 months, and technically you weren't allowed to be a trainer unless you'd been there for over 3. Yep. She'd only been there 2. And she would constantly do things like breaking the rules, things she wasn't supposed to do. She would just take off and be like, I'm going to go do this, leave you by yourself. You're not and you're not supposed to do that. So we were all very, very, very confused as to why she got it. And like people asked leadership, and it was just like, they were like, oh, well, like we weren't sure like who else to choose. It was like they gave everyone the runaround, and it was like, you could have chose anyone else. You just chose her because you only ever saw her doing these like fake magical moments with guests.
She was a theater kid, so she knew when to put on a show.
Yeah.
And when they weren't looking, to not put on a show.
Yep. So that was a really, really fun, bitter time in our lives, and we took that shit to the grave with us when we would not stop talking about it.
Well, the only thing I will give them is they had impeccable timing because I just turned 21, so I drank a lot of alcohol after that because I was allowed to in my apartment.
Yeah, in our apartment, that was the breakdown apartment. Especially the kitchen floor.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was our couch.
No, it was like the kitchen.
It was the kitchen, because we all had a breakdown there, and like I loved living with you guys every minute, except for the trainer fiasco, because you two would talk about it nonstop.
There was nothing else to talk about.
And I did not care. Like,
but you also didn't like the crazy redhead, so you're on our side for that.
Well, of course I was on your side. Like, I'm always on your side. If someone ever bullies you two, I'm like, we hate them. There was like...
We did hate her.
Yeah.
Like... She never did anything to me, but I was like, no, you hate her, so we hate her. Like, your enemy is my enemy. You know, we hate Daniel. Or you cut that.
Whatever, I don't care.
You quit. We hate Daniel. No,
I've never met the guy, and I also hate him.
But yeah, no one liked the redhead. She didn't get along with anybody, and it was a whole thing. And like training with her was terrible. It was just not fun. It was just not fun.
I have a fun little tidbit about Kailie.
Oh.
So one tidbit. So when my family came to meet me, finally, in December.
Came to meet you for the first time? They never met you before?
Yeah, her mom just birthed her and like ran.
Okay, we're getting on to So I want to talk about how incredibly tanned and gorgeous Kailie looks in Florida. She was so tanned. Like, she was living her, like, beach Barbie fantasy.
Yes.
So when my parents came to visit, I introduced them to Kailie because she was my roommate. And my mom's like, wow, Kailie's so stunning. Is she from Brazil? And I was like, no, Mom, she's not. But this was a running joke because guests would constantly come up to you and ask you what race you were. And in the only Southern American way that Florida can provide.
What ethnicity are you? Are you really from Canada?
Every day. They're like, I don't believe you. I do have, like, 2 kind of crazy guest stories. So one was I was at the bar, and the rule about the bar is you can't leave the bar because obviously there's glass, there's alcohol. And this woman came up to me, and she's like, so you guys actually work where you live, like, type of thing. I'm like, yeah, I'm from Canada, I'm from the West Coast. And she's like, okay. She got like really close to me, and I was like, okay. I like backed up a little bit because I'm like, what the hell is going on? She's like, blink once if you're in danger. And I'm like, how do I just stare at this woman and not blink? Like,
yeah, beg pardon.
I'm like, she's like, were you guys taken against your will? Blink twice. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, no, I was not. And like, I must have blinked twice. And she's like, I knew it. And like, walked away. And I'm like, I don't know what she's going to do with this information. But she's thinking that they're just snatching up Canadians.
Which is
Putting like Oompa Loompas?
Are we like in an aquarium? Although that was the original version of the park. They wanted to put you in like a box and be like, here, they're on show.
And then the other one was, oddly enough, Florida in December got really cold.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually didn't bring down a winter jacket because I didn't realize how cold it was.
None of us did. I was fucking oblivious.
Yeah, I was so freezing. And we had these stupid hats. I don't even know what they're called. The fur trader hat looking things. And I was wearing it with my hair in 2 braids because it's so hot. I just wore my hair in braids half the time. And a lady comes up to me and says, I really love this hat. I love the braids like how they have it in Norway. And grabbed my hair. And I'm like, ma'am, ow, that is my hair. And she's like, that can't be your hair. I'm like, this is my hair. It is down to my waist. Please leave it alone.
Oh my god.
You never grab anyone's hair, and you especially never grab a black woman's hair.
I was going to say, have you met any white lady? They just always grab my hair. Like, yeah, they're like, it's so springy. I love your black hair. And I'm, can you not say that, please?
Yeah.
And then that, I was always called Indian down there. Because apparently they don't know how to say First Nation. Everyone's just Indian down there.
Thanks.
So I got called Indian all the time. So that was great.
Oh, that's fun.
Huh? Kailie was in India next to our tiki poles.
Yep, our
my
tiki
God.
poles.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part. Oh, one last crazy story. So my very last Saturday, I had the days off Thursday, Friday. So my Monday was Saturday, which is always the day that everyone drank around the world. My very last Saturday, I was so done. I'm like, what are they going to do to deport me? A woman started peeing on
Of course, because that's where lots of people like to pee.
because we didn't have a bathroom. Because apparently going 20 steps the other way was too far. In either direction, actually. She started going to the bathroom on the totem pole. I don't know how many times I've had to call security while working in that park.
Oh, so many times. So many times.
But those are probably my 3 craziest stories about the theme park.
Yeah, we had some weird times, that is for sure, and we did do a lot of complaining, which again, I think I apologized in an old, like one of the first episodes where we talked about the theme park. I apologized because I became a very bitter, jaded human being.
I was going to say, between the 2 of us, we were
We were all very bitter, all very jaded, but I would still go back, but that's my, toxic trait, personally.
Well, I'm okay with us going back when we're, old. We've had our kids if we want them, and we, end up being, 60 and all just live in a 2-bedroom apartment together with bunk beds again.
Yes.
I'm okay doing that when we're, in our 60s. We'll have a car. We'll be living our best life.
Yep.
Well,
we can live through another hurricane together, because that is something we all experience together.
And I will make sure there's more wine this time. There was not enough wine.
There was
drank
not
through
enough
that very
wine.
fast.
Oh my god, and we ate so many snacks.
We built a fort.
We built a fort.
Yeah.
We had a little photo shoot. You ran outside in your wizard robe and yelled.
I was so drunk.
You yelled at the storm.
You fell off our bed that were 2 inches off the ground.
And I think I flipped the Monopoly board.
You did, because you guys are really mad at me.
Because you're really good at
And you won't play Monopoly with me anymore, and now my fiance won't either. So who am I going to play Monopoly
Who's
with?
your next victim?
Honestly, I need to get another husband or something and just make him play Monopoly with me.
Yeah.
For one lucky listener, if you say the magic word, you'll win a trip to play Monopoly with Kailie.
I have 5 different boards.
Come one, come all. Love it. Love it.
My goal one day is to just layer them on top of it. Just you have to play
So, there's 3D chess.
3D chess, 5 layers.
5D Monopoly.
But the real question is, do you have Mrs. Monopoly or Ms. Monopoly? I can't remember which one it is.
Oh, the girl boss Monopoly?
Oh, what? Oh, there was another one where it's you won't make as much as a man so who cares? And I'm like, oh, this is not a good...
Who allowed this?
I'm like, this is not allowed.
No, Florida was a wild and crazy time. We saw many breakdowns from each other. I've cleaned Amy's vomit on me. I've vomited on Kailie. And then Amy took Kailie to the hospital, so I think we're even.
Mine wasn't puke related, at least.
No, it was just heat stroke related. Yeah. And I remember, when that happened, that situation got like pretty serious. I had to take you to the hospital. And then when your mom and grandparents came down to visit, it was like I was Mother Teresa.
You were. You made sure I was okay.
Yeah, I just remember your mom she was almost about to cry in my...
I'm sure she did cry.
Yeah, she was like, thank you so much for like taking... I was like, you're welcome. I've never met you before, but like now we're hugging for a little bit too long, which is fine. But you're welcome. Yeah, it was like I was a little bit of a walking saint. But I'll take it.
She didn't die, but thank you.
Yeah. I'm happy you didn't die.
It felt like I was going to die.
Yeah, that was not a fun time.
No, but Florida was such an interesting experience, and like working in the theme park industry in general is... Because I know the theme park is opening up back, and then the program we all went down on is still not reopened because we have a friend of ours who is like, she is just waiting at the border to go back. Like, she's like screaming, let me in! And
I feel her on that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
For a different reason,
yeah.
But yes.
Yeah. And when I look back at it now, because in my adult experience, explaining to people what we did, like, people don't either understand and think it's really cool, or they don't understand. And you said, oh, I worked at this theme park. Did you always get asked, were you a princess?
When I first came home, a lot. But now it's just like, oh, you worked there? Okay, what was it like? Okay. And now they're kind of like, because when did you go? I'm like, oh, almost 5 years ago. They're like, oh, okay. You're done.
You're past your prime.
Yeah. It's no longer interesting.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not a personality trait of ours anymore.
It used to be for a few years.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we still talk about it a decent amount, but I think it's more of, we're not talking about it, like, to reminisce. We're talking about because, like, there's still people in our lives, and, like, we're still kind of curious, like, what's going on in the theme park, because, like, we still go back, you know, and we enjoy the properties from that theme park, you know.
But it's not the type of, we wear their merchandise every day like we used to anymore.
Yeah. Like, we actually, before COVID hit, we had planned this big reunion trip. It was the three of us, Traveler, like, and a couple other of our friends. We were all going to go down. We were going to stay at this cabin because Amy was supposed to be working there.
Yep.
And because it started with me saying to our friend Caitlin, hey, you want to go down to Florida and visit Amy while she's working there? And we're like, cool, but we can't afford it. I know, but if our other friend comes, we can afford it. So we ask her, and she says, well, maybe to me. So our other friend can't say no to Caitlin.
Yes.
She can't, because, like, Caitlin is a sneaky little bitch. and I know this sounds, okay, she seems like she's so nice and so innocent. I have light up Skechers because of this woman. Do I need them? No. Are they one of my top 10 purchases in my life? Absolutely. But any sane person, when I go, look, children's light up Skechers that fit me, would go, haha, that's cute. You're not actually buying those. She went, you need those. You should get them. You should buy them.
Yeah, she was sneaky about all that stuff. She'd always be like, yeah, buy it.
And then she'd never buy it.
Yeah, and then you ask her, and she goes, no, I don't need it. Caitlin, I just spent like $80 because you're like, you need that. Yeah, because you did. Yeah, kind of reverse psychology is this. Like, no.
Yeah. So the four of us were going, and then we tell Kailie, and Kailie goes, I want to go.
So it was like, what was it, 7 of us?
Well, and then
6 of us?
And then we told Traveler, and she's like, I want to come too.
Yeah, so we had, like, it was going to be, like, this huge reunion trip, and we were all excited because it was going to be over Kelsey's birthday and then Traveler's birthday, and it was going to be a fun, hot girl summer time.
I already had the time off, too. Like,
yes, so did I. Like, we all, like, it was booked so well in advance, and then this was in February.
Right before everything.
And then the pandemic hit so hard. So we were like, well, we're obviously not going. Like, you were still holding out hope, but, like, we knew we weren't going. Mm-hmm. So it comes to July, and this is when you were allowed to travel last summer. So Traveler came out and was hanging out with us, and I was like, yeah, we were supposed to be in Florida this time. And she goes, oh, wait, I don't think I ever canceled the cabin. So I was like, ma'am, you need to get on the phone now.
Yeah, it was so funny. She's like, yeah, I didn't ever actually cancel it. We're like, Traveler, how did you not do this? She's like, I just forgot. And so I was literally in the room when she made the phone call, and the lady was very nice on the other end. She's like, yeah, is there like a reason you can't like make your trip anymore? Just we have to like write down a reason. And Traveler goes, well, I'm in Canada and the border's closed, so there's really no way I can get there. And the lady went, oh yeah, that's really unfortunate, isn't it? We're like, yeah, little bit.
Wasn't it like the week before, so you could still get a full refund?
Yeah.
That's why
Thankfully.
thankfully, Traveler.
I'm like, you need to call right now.
Oh my god.
She has money, she's fine.
Well, that was an expensive cabin for 6 nights.
Oh yeah, it was 6 nights.
That was 6 nights.
Between 7 of us, yeah. It was an expensive cabin.
Yeah.
I was excited for the golf carts, man.
We were all excited for a lot of things that didn't get to happen.
Yeah, that's true.
But you know what? Maybe next year.
Yeah. You know what? We don't have to experience Florida heat in July.
True. That would have...
Yeah, that was the one part I think we all just kind of were like rose-colored glasses about.
We were
like,
trying not to remember.
Yeah, we were trying not to worry.
Because that's when I got heat stroke.
Yeah.
Last time when we lived there.
Yeah. But okay, we did talk about we were both very bitter and jaded people during our time at the theme park. Is there a part that you did enjoy? Because I've blocked like all the very negative memories out of my brain. Like, because anytime I think back to it, except for the parts with the crazy redhead, because those just, I'm mad they live rent free in my brain. I just always think back to a lot of the positives. So, what about you?
I really did. We had a autograph book, and that was my favorite thing, to go up to little girls who were dressed up like some of the characters and be like, I need your autograph because I've never actually like met this certain character before. And they would just do like a little spin in their whatever costume they were wearing, and it was really adorable, and I absolutely love that. And I did that to this little boy wearing like his favorite character's costume as well, and he loved it. It was so cute. So that was my favorite thing about working in the theme park. And I really do miss making fun of that bar. It was...
Oh, yeah.
It was really bad.
But it was like the only place...
But it was like fun.
Because we were allowed to be sassy. It was the only place where we could literally tell guests, without physically saying it, we could tell them to fuck off in the nicest way possible.
Yep.
And they weren't allowed to do anything to us. Because if we were telling them to get out, it was because they were overly drunk. So
I also really liked, we had these iPads, and like we could show guests where we lived. So I would show them the mountains, the rivers, and I'm like, I live 10 minutes away from the border. I go down to the States all the time, and no one believed me. And actually for a while, Caitlin didn't believe me either. She's like, you don't live in a border town. I'm like, yeah, it's right next to the Costco. Like, I can go to the States whenever I want. But that was really cool because a lot of people lived on super flat areas in the middle of the States, and I thought that was really cool. Or they lived in like Arizona where it was hot. They never saw any mountains. So I thought that was fun to show guests. And then there was one time I was in a video because these 2 like influencers were doing the Junior Rangers scavenger hunt.
Yes. Oh, I loved it, the Junior Rangers.
I'm so sad they got rid of them.
Yes. Just a quick background on what the Junior Rangers was. We used to do this little scavenger hunt around the store because we sold little stuffed animals of like polar bears and black bears and beavers and moose. And there was like one like really like flimsy moose that was always my favorite. I loved him. I almost bought one. But we'd put little like collars on them that had like their names.
But they were puns, but they were even better.
Yeah, so they were all like silly little made up things, and every once in a while, like they were in like pretty easy to find places, so kids would be like, why is there like a bear on this shelf? We'd be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for like you found my friend. There's lots of other of my friends like hidden around the store. You think you can help me find them? And then they get like really excited. And we had like little certificates, or we'd make them buttons that would say Junior Rangers. So yes, it was very cute. But continue your story.
So you had to find like all 5 Junior Rangers, and then if you wanted to become a Senior Ranger, you had to find like the super secret celebrity ranger.
Yes.
And it was Justin Bieber. And only so many people found him, so we had like a stash of the Senior Ranger buttons.
Yes.
So that was pretty cool because I watched the video back and I'm like, wow, I was really hungover in that. But you know what? I was in a video that like hundreds of people watched.
If anything, Florida taught us all how to go to work extremely hungover in over 100 degree Fahrenheit weather, 100% humidity, and still have a great day. Or at least look like we're having a good day.
My favorite thing is I didn't go out. So when I did, one of our coworkers and friends at the time, he's like, I'm not going to go out tonight. Like, I work really early. I open tomorrow. And Kelsey's like, Kailie's coming. He's like, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he got so drunk. Well, I got really drunk too, but he got so drunk he was like, 2 hours late for work the next day?
He wasn't answering his phone. He was 3 hours late for work. And I thought he died because he always left the oven on because he liked to make late night pizza.
Yeah, he almost got deported for doing that.
Yeah. But he loved his pizza. But you know what? When I went out, it was a fun time. And I only ever got drunk really bad on the cruise that we went on. And Kelsey will never let me forget it.
My dear, you almost got kidnapped in the Bahamas. Like, I am not Liam Neeson. I cannot find you if they take you. Like, I will do my best. But we are two small, 5'3" and 4" women in a foreign country, and we have to get to the boat, and you were drunk and stealing beers. And, like, maybe we'll post this photo of you if you let me. There's a photo of Kailie sitting on the bench moments before she almost got kidnapped. And she is very drunk, and she is sitting up very straight with her hands crossed over her lap.
You told me to be good, so I was.
Well, I was going in to buy you Gatorade. And I said, be good, and then you almost get kidnapped. So our friend had to go, hey, baby, where you been? And he had to, like, get you away from this man.
And if you look at him, you know he's a flaming homosexual. Like, there's no way that was my boyfriend.
Yeah, but you know what? We got you on the boat, deposited you in the bed with a trash bucket, and then left.
And then I remember that night, I came out in a headscarf, and you guys made fun of me because I was trying not to see the room spin.
And that's how we gave you the adorable nickname Nona.
Which still haunts me to this day.
And it's still used on you all the time.
I know, and I hate it.
Everybody still calls you Nona. But I think, Nona, that's where we'll put you to bed. It's 7:30, so we'll get you some Jell-O and put you to bed, because I think that's it for today.
This isn't a video podcast, but for just so people know, Kailie flipped us off.
Nona, that's so inappropriate.
But yeah, thanks for being a guest on our podcast. We appreciate you.
It was great, and it was about time.
And it was.
I was offended I wasn't the first one.
We've asked you so many times, and just every time we've hung out, we never get around to it because we're just having fun, and then we end up getting way too drunk, which we're gonna do later tonight.
Thank you, Kailie, our number one fan. We joke that other people are our number one fan, but you truly are our number one fan. I mean, Amy's partner's coming for you because she re-listens to the episodes. So if you want to, go against her, you got to start re-listening.
Who loves Amy the most? Head on, Battle Royale.
And you better get on that Twitter, man. She's beating you there.
Yeah, she really is. She's got me there.
Yeah, are you thirsting on the mirror pics?
Okay, we're done.
Hi, Amy's girlfriend.
Okay, Amy, before we descend into madness and eat lots of pizza, give us the outro.
Yes, okay, thanks guys so much for listening to this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed our crazy, chaotic interview with our lovely friend Kailie. If you did like this, maybe we can do a part 2 and just continue catching up on more crazy stories that we definitely have. But you can listen to us on Spotify, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, and if you listen to us on Apple, please give us a 5-star rating and leave us a nice little review. We'd love that so much. You can also listen to us on Anchor, and you can find us on YouTube at Can You Take My Shift. We're on Instagram at Can You Take My Shift, Facebook at Can You Take My Shift, and then on Twitter at CYTMS Podcast. So you're going to follow us all there. That's where you'll find us up all our episode updates every single week. You can also find us on our social medias. Kelsey is at Kelsey Peets on Twitter and Instagram and on TikTok. Kelsey had a TikTok blow up this past week. She got, how many views did you end up getting?
It was like over 250,000.
I know, we got a little TikTok celebrity.
I know, yeah. Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Yes, I would just like the world to know that TikTok was from a purchase I made, my lovely little toadstool. But that's okay, I'll let you have it.
Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
Thank you. And then you can find me, Amy, at Shelly Amy on Twitter, Instagram, and on Twitch. Kailie is also our lovely, lovely, lovely photographer. She's taken any of like the really nice photos that you've seen of us. That's all Kailie. She's incredible. She's great. She's lovely. And so she has her own photography business. You can find her on Instagram at K Bateman Photography and on Facebook there as well. So please, if you need photos in the Lower Mainland area or in Vancouver, she will drive in just for an extra fee. Please check her out there because she does amazing work. But yeah, that's where we're going to end this episode. And so, Kelsey, can you take my shift?
No, I'm third in line for the maid of honor throne, so I got 2 people to take out.
But I'm one of those people.
Didn't say it was gonna be easy.
Well, if you don't hear from me in 2 weeks, you know who to come after.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.